All right. Good evening and good morning, Unicorn fam. Welcome to the Crypto Unicorns bi-weekly town hall number 42. This is Sparkly Unicorn with Stealthy Unicorn on Tech. Let's introduce who we have on stage for today. We have Mitch V, Councilwoman Diori, and Fluffy Unicorn, all very familiar, near and dear, ready to say hi, share updates, and answer questions. So this is the first time that Mitch has been in the town hall in this position as the one who answers the questions. So I'd really love to know more. Tell us more about what you're doing for LG.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for the intro, Sparkly. So first of all, guys, very excited to be up here. It was just a few months ago that I was down in the audience asking the questions, and now I have this great opportunity to work with the team and be the one to answer some of these questions from you all. So part of my current responsibilities here at CU is just to coordinate all the marketing. You know, for a while, this has been a bit of a pain point for crypto unicorns, and me having all this past experience playing this game, I think really aligns with my marketing skills. And I'm very excited to just work with the community even more closely. And you would have seen the marketing plan come out this week, which is I felt was very exciting, and I'm very passionate about rolling that out. And yeah, I can certainly answer more questions about that during this town hall. So yeah, I'll leave it there.
Oh my God. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I mentioned it in a couple different town halls, but super glad to have Mitch here because he not only understands marketing and user acquisition and has those conventional skills, but also is a very dedicated CU player and has a farm much more advanced than mine, and has certainly figured out the Elder game and all that kind of stuff. So just great to have another set of eyes full time that's working with us now and helping identify gaps, and just somebody that has a really deep product knowledge. You know, I'm learning, I'm getting there, but as we were kind of joking about in the intro, like I'm just starting my journey of really trying to breed for like multi-mythic unicorns and that kind of stuff. So learning quickly, but still some catching up to do. So glad that I have Mitch here who I can ask questions regularly when I get stumped on figuring all this stuff out. Our gene system is complicated, which is a good thing, but I feel like I'm back in university, Sparkly.
I feel ya. I can't wait to take a look at that. So since this is the first time that,
I was just going to say, trying to put together, like continually update the new user guide. I just updated the breeding section and working on adding kind of a breeding tips, the very beginning of some step-by-step, like how do you get started. The idea has always been to continue expanding that guide, though it's not always top of mind. So just a little teaser of something else to look out for. Nothing too crazy. Just I need some material that when we bring in new players and they ask, where do I start with breeding? At least have that very, very beginning 101 documentation to hand them. So just one thing that's top of mind for me and on my plate at the end of this week.
definitely. Something that I wanted to bring up is that Mitch just recently released his CU growth plan. So that's around 3 days earlier, and it had a lot of people really appreciated it. But for the ones that weren't able to read it here in the audience, can you give us a quick summary of your growth plan, Mitch?
Yeah, sure. So I'll keep it as brief as possible. And rather than go through every point in this growth plan, I will just pull out a few different hooks that I think are the most important part, and yeah, just give some context around their strategy. So the very first one was improving the user experience. Now, from a marketing perspective, this is very important because what's the point of driving traffic and all these people to an experience that just isn't onboarding and converting people in the way they should? And conversion is also one side of the picture. The other side of the picture is retention. And so I want to make sure that when we really start to focus on our marketing, which we are, we've got all these new exciting endeavors coming up, that we're driving them to an experience that is going to capture them and also hold them. And so I've been very adamant to the team that's something we need to focus on, because the true value here in CU is long-term retention. It is not getting a user for a week or a month. It is holding them for months to a year, even beyond that. So that was the first point. The other point was focusing on things like launching this referral program. I've specifically taken ownership for getting this across the line. I think if we can add more value to the current community for bringing in new players and incentivize that, we're just going to be able to get new people on board. And referrals at the end of the day are pretty much the easiest way to get leads, right? Because you're leveraging someone else's or in that case, the referrer's reputation to say, hey, come on board, this game's great. You know, I really, really like it. So it's much more organic, much more natural than just seeing an ad and clicking on an ad and then trying to figure it all out. So the referral program was the second point. And then the final one was really focusing on partnerships. You know, partnerships, also Twitter marketing. This is something I know the community has echoed a lot. So going down the Twitter marketing path, we need to get that right. I'm currently working on a few different plans to roll out just a set of steps we can follow to really focus on our Twitter marketing strategy, and more importantly, get the community involved in this as well. You know, one thing I am starting to understand is that there is a lot of people in our community with a lot of incredible skills. And I think the big advantage here is that apart from having these skills, if you've been in this game for a while, you have a stake in this project, right? You have a stake in this company. And so personally for me, this is not a career. This is not an opportunity to earn a paycheck. This is an opportunity for me to do the best I can. And through that, I'm going to be able to potentially have all the assets that I've potentially purchased are going to be able to do better as a result of me showing up every day and doing my best in this position. So yeah, there's multiple motivations here for me, put it that way. And I think for other community members in here, it would be the same. So yeah, I would say that's a brief overview around the marketing plan. But of course, all the details can be found if you watch the stream, which is on YouTube, or you'll find it in the marketing channel. And of course, any questions that do come out from that, I'd be more than happy to go into.
Thank you so much, Mitch. So to echo on what Mitch said, you can watch Mitch's marketing video or growth plan video on YouTube, and you can also watch it in the marketing updates channel. So that's the channel dedicated solely for marketing updates. We know that y'all have been craving for really granular updates on marketing and what we're doing to market the game, what we're doing to market like the different aspects and different features of Crypto Unicorns. So there you have it. There is a specific channel just for that. So take a look at marketing updates and scroll up a little and you will see the CU growth plan that Mitch has been working really hard on. Speaking of working really hard, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry to interrupt. If I could just chime in real quick. One thing I would encourage the community, I guess I'll try to say this as politely as possible. The great thing about having Mitch that's like leading marketing and partnership type stuff is that he's much more engaged with the community than our previous director of marketing. So I would definitely encourage you guys to, quote, take advantage of that and poke Mitch anytime you have ideas or feedback or concerns or whatever. Not that I want you guys to overload him, but he's very accessible. And our previous director of marketing just didn't speak the lingo well enough to feel comfortable really engaging in real time and getting into the nitty gritty of these deep discussions. So that's a big shift here. I know Aaron mentioned on the last town hall, hey, we just let somebody go. That's a major sign of things changing. And I just want to echo that and highlight that's one big aspect here that I think is going to be distinctly different. So not that every experiment we're going to try now is magically going to work, but kind of a totally different path and I think a totally different style of trying to build these plans and do it step by step. We're not going to be doing those same shotgun style mass drops like we were before. I think that was a pretty definitively failed experiment. Still doing some stuff with the guilds, of course, much different lockup terms. And so far the guilds have been much more sticky and productive on average, by the metrics than a lot of the shotgun approach stuff. So as always, continuing different experiments, doubling down on what works, that kind of jam. Mitch, if there's anything you want to add to that, feel free. But glad to have you, buddy. Seriously, it's been a pleasure so far.
Yeah, thanks. Really appreciate that, Andrew. And it's great. Yeah, honestly, it's wonderful to work with this team. Everyone's very passionate about this product. And personally, for me, I thrive of passion. When people run at a higher energy, for me, that's what draws me in. And I just can't get enough of that. So it always makes me very excited to work with people who are very product aligned and, don't just show up for a paycheck, but believe in a company, its values, its vision. And, one of my first initiatives when I kind of started to take more ownership for all this marketing was to create that marketing channel, right? Because was kind of frustrating only getting these incremental marketing updates every so often, and then the community understandably is like, well, hang on a sec, what's happening with marketing? We're not hearing anything. So at least like my plan is that every day I'm literally posting an update in that marketing update channel, just saying, hey guys, did this, or here's what's in the works, and every day having some sort of frequent update, just so you are aware that there is progress happening in this space. But it also allows you guys to give me feedback and be like, oh, cool, well, have you tried this, or have you thought about this? And I already met with 2 community members this week to discuss different proposals, which is fantastic. So if you have anything and you want to reach out, I'm more than happy to jump on a call. I prefer that because it's easy to ask questions, to get to know the other person, see what their motivations are, and see what skill set they have, and be like, okay, well, you know what, I think this person's really competent in this area. Maybe we should consider a way where we can integrate them into our team. You never actually know, right, until you get to connect with someone one-on-one. So it's something I'm certainly open to.
And as you can probably tell by the accent, he's Australian. So if you're a night owl in America or Europe, definitely take advantage of that, because that's when he tends to be online. So totally global team. That's another nice thing. It's like I feel like we're kind of in shifts. You know, when I'm asleep, you tend to be awake and a little more active, and vice versa. It's nice to wake up and see some action in Sirius sometimes while you know, I'm out.
Yeah, it's amazing how our team is just global, and our shifts are all over the place. And there's always somebody to talk to at any time of the day. Speaking of taking from community and bringing their enthusiasm into LG, I mean, she's already a part of LG. She's already very familiar and near and dear to our hearts. Well, let's say hi yet again to another era of Fluffy Unicorn. Hey!
Social media manager for CU and Laguna Games' very own corporate shitposter. I'm here to make sure that people know what Crypto Unicorns is, and more importantly, to make them believe that we're cool, because we are. And I'm foaming at the mouth to finally kick off some incoming campaigns for CU, so please feed me with your RTs and replies in raid corns so that we can get this ball rolling. Yeah.
Amazing. And I see you all the time hopping in and serious, straight up, literally foaming at the mouth in the GIFs. Just for the RTs and the engagement. I love it. I love your enthusiasm so much. And I know that you were talking about a little plan, a social media marketing plan with Aaron. Do you want to share some of that with us?
Working with Mitch to kind of come up with content strategy for social media, and a lot of it has to do with like diagnosing our initial social media. So a lot of it was very informational, pretty dry. I know that you know. And now that our marketing demands have increased, we finally need kind of like a dedicated team to actually get Twitter rolling, which is where the community is. And a lot of it has to do with just making a change in how we interact with Twitter. So this is pretty much a bit of alpha, but you're gonna see a lot of Shadowcorns taking over soon, pretty soon on social media. I like putting it as like our Barbie face is over. Goodbye, guys. And you're gonna see us kind of like have a shift in our tone when interacting. How I kind of want to do it is by first doing a lot of milestone strategy events. If you're an OG, you know that in the past we used to run a lot of events wherein, okay, let's reach this number, and then if we do reach this number, you guys get a reward. So that kind of gets our numbers up ideally. So we're going to be having a lot of those milestone challenges, and as well as turning information more into something of engagement. So I know you've seen before in the past, like the delegation thread, stuff like that. So instead of just telling people, okay, here's delegation, we're going to make people see why delegation matters and why it's so important. So there's also that shift there. I don't want to share more. But there's going to be a lot of engagement. I don't want to call it engagement farming, but like you're going to see us interact more a lot in the Twitter space. So, you know, when I post something in Raidcorns, you know how to support me. Please feed me with your RTs and your replies. I love it when I get stuff like that. Yeah.
I'm so glad we made the Raidcorns channel. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Mitch.
Yeah, so I was just going to add to that and say one thing I'm going to be doing and coordinating with Fluffy, and to be honest, not just Fluffy, everyone else in the team, is coming up with an actual marketing plan for our product releases. Up until this point, we kind of release a product and it's like, hey guys, cool, you know, it's now available, and we rely on this product to bring people in, but it doesn't work that way. Marketing does not work that way. And so I want to make sure that I'm coordinating with the team and say, all right, you know what? We have a release coming up on this date, and this week is when it's scheduled. Let's get some marketing plan. Let's get a marketing plan executed in the lead up to this date so we can get some awareness outside of our community, because some of these things like delegation, for example, it's a huge thing, right? And so we need to make sure that we're doing our best to echo that as wide as we can. And obviously I'm going to be working closely with the social media team to help them come up with a plan and basically a formula that we can do this for every single product release we have, because I feel that's kind of been missing, and that's something I'm very determined to support the team to implement.
Awesome. Yeah, what I was going to say before is just highlighting the importance of the Raidcorns channel. I'm really glad we made that. It's a great resource. You know, encourage community members to share stuff in there, as well as you know, help spin the wheel of just spreading the good word. Even if you don't have a lot of followers, just the vanity of engagement on our tweets definitely helps when outsiders see it. I really do feel like we're starting to see a small network effect form where there are a couple of new influencers starting to pay attention, and people that I've been talking to, and especially in the Spanish community, we've had a couple guilds now start to activate and make some small videos. I had another guild organically reach out this past week just saying, hey, we see what you're doing. It looks pretty cool. If we could get some, we'd love to play and check it out. So just cool stuff there. And the more we can help turn that wheel of, wow, look, this is alive and popping. Seriously, there are other games that are about to go belly up. You know, I've got a little bit of alpha. I can't drop any names, but behind the scenes, there are some that are like running on fumes and they don't even really have their finished game to market yet. So I know it feels like sometimes we're moving super slow, or we're losing all these players, we're falling really, really far behind. But there are a lot of folks in the space still way worse than us, just in a really tough spot. So just keep that in mind. And I think this is a really important time to help buff up those numbers a little bit. And people are looking for other things to do, right? Axie just had a big win today with their mint with CyberKongs on Ronin. That's great for our space, just for Web3 gaming in general, to see a mint hit its cap on a gaming specific chain. You know, it shows some general interest in an ecosystem very tangential to ours. So it's a great time to just be visible and be out there. So utilize the Raidcorns, man. I'm doing what I can in the social media front, trying to get in the DMs, and I'm really hoping the clan leaderboard will help accelerate that flywheel of all the work that I started and Mitch has now been putting a lot of effort into in terms of the guilds and trying to activate these new players. And hopefully some of them will start buying some assets. You know, the dream is that we're not giving things away forever, but that's kind of a jump start. People see the value and then they start making the investment themselves. So it feels like we're starting to see a little momentum. Always cautiously optimistic, but appreciate all the help on the social media.
%. All right, so that's enough an intro, and let's get to the questions right now. Let me take a look. Oh, actually, we don't have questions in the town hall thread. But everybody watching, please come up with your questions. I'm pretty sure the community has been looking for a marketing presence for months and months and months, and here it is. It's actually doubled up, tripled up. So if there are any marketing questions that you all want to ask, go ahead. This is your chance. let me just run by the rules really quickly. We have a 3 questions per person rule. Any questions related specifically to your account or a Zendesk issue, talk to us on the mod support channel instead. There are also questions that are better answered by other specialists in Team LG. Take note, this is mainly on marketing and growth town hall. So any questions about Unum syncs or anything like that is something that is best for the design team or other members of the LG team. So we might have to get back to your question at the end of the town hall if that's the case, but we will make sure it gets addressed. So if you want to ask a question in voice, please press the request to speak button. The button looks like a raised hand and you can queue up at any time. Once we accept your request, you'll see a button that says accept. It's in green. Click that to begin speaking. We also usually have written questions. If you want to send a written question, go ahead and write it over at the Town Hall Bulletin Forum channel on the Town Hall 42 thread. But we do prioritize spoken questions over written ones. And besides, this is a great opportunity to just hop onto the stage and say hi to our new marketing leads. All right, we have Goliath rules. Come on over. Hey.
Hey, because I like to talk. No, Gabe, I was just kidding. There was no alpha. I was just kidding, man. So I didn't hear it. All right. So, hey, Mitch, I mean, I really appreciate all of the feedback. I mean, I actually got some really good comments from folks on the outside that said they're really impressed with all of the new marketing, with all of the new updates and that. And I know that you've done some reach out to basically some of the groups like mine and others and done some collaboration in that. I honestly just really impressed with the job that you're doing. So I just want to give you kudos to that. So I guess question wise is, when's maintenance going to be done? Because we're all hitting F5. And 2, can we maybe do like a little rundown in terms of what's going through with this particular maintenance? I don't think we did that yet. So I just was curious about that. So let me pause on that.
So, well, Mitch, if you want to jump in, certainly go ahead. But I think I can talk about this one a little bit because I think this was pretty performance related. Obviously, the last release had some issues with the frame rates and moving around quickly and the tearing. There's been a lot of chatter from Zesty in the Founders channel, especially, and some in Sirius as well, talking about the new mode that's going to be coming out, the dubbed potato mode, and working on scrubbing stuff out for that. So that's one piece. And then another part is just trying to improve the performance and fix whatever the source of that performance related issue was. Give me a minute here and I think I can pull up like the exact stuff. But yeah, this was a big performance patch from what I recall.
I think I could step in. Oh, sorry.
Sure. Yeah. If you've got it, Fluffy, please.
Yeah, I still have some CM in me. So yeah, like what Ziori said, it's a lot to do with performance. We now have potato mode, and it's going to be capping the FPS at 30. So, if you have like a lot of corns or you just want to get your job done, this is really good for you. We also have a couple of changes on the movement of Shadow Corn's quest. So also, as well as jousting rewards, Silver Showdown and Golden Gauntlet have like new RBW rewards. Actually increased RBW rewards, so get jousting people. It's really fun to joust now. I love how recently I noticed on social media you guys have been posting a lot of like, hey, my unicorn won in jousting, and I feel like that has such a big impact because like, okay, people see that you're having fun, so and we want to incentivize it with more RBW rewards. RBW quests as well. Go to the quest board for that update, as well as journey items. We've redistributed, we revised the redistribution of these items, as well as we've switched up the planting costs for material seeds now that adult corns can plant them. So it's time to finally evolve your babies. Please evolve your babies. We're saying no to child labor here. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, That and a couple of bug fixes and UI UX improvements, and that's 2.2.1 for you guys. When maintenance is ending, I believe in about 3 hours. Or if the team pulls through, it could be a lot earlier. Who knows? Maybe at the end of this. Who knows? But yeah, targeted in about 3 hours.
So then I have to find something else to do at 7 o'clock. Okay, I was gonna.
Oh,
I was gonna
luckily
do-
you're here with us.
Bumper corns! Bumper
Yeah,
corns!
I was gonna do a stream at 7, so I'll do bumper corns. That's fine. Okay, sounds good. All right, cool.
And I just wanted to jump in and say as well, by the way, guys, I fixed my mic. For some reason, I should sound better, but Discord had defaulted to my webcam mic instead of my proper professional studio mic, which I've been speaking into this whole time like an idiot. You should all hear me in much more higher fidelity at the moment.
You sound much better, actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
so
I know.
Welcome back, Mitch. Sounds
This
great.
is the real me. This is the real me. So, yeah, thank you, Goliath, for the wonderful feedback. I really appreciate it, man. And, you know, again, my big focus here is to work closer with the community. And I want to echo out there to everyone else that if you know any other communities that you think are going to be, you know, really invested in this game, they're going to love it. Maybe it's a community of streamers, it's a community of gamers. I'm happy to chat with them and see where they're at, because my number one short-term priority really is to get the amount of daily active users up. We do have a fantastic product, okay? We all know that. We're here. Look at the community that we have. Look at the time we put in. Look at the strategies that we come up with. So we know this product has potential. A lot of people don't know that, though, and we assume that other people know what we know. This is one of the greatest fallacies when it comes to marketing, assuming that someone knows something that you do when that's not the case. And so we need to solve that. If we can get people coming into our game for a minimal point of resistance, we can get them playing, we can guide them, we can support them to find the right strategies, they're going to stick, right? It's just at this point in time, whilst the product is being refined and the rough edges are being smoothed out, we need to do a little bit of manual work to make sure people stick around and see the value here. So yeah, if anyone has any other connections to other communities and you think it's worthwhile us reaching out to them and potentially doing a strategic drop, I'm certainly happy to consider it. So feel free to shoot me a DM or whatever it is if you think is the best way to contact me as well. Happy to jump on a call too.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, if you're such a person that has a unicorn as your PFP on any social media, it is a great time. I'm an interoperability guy. I know some people think of other projects as you know, competitors. When I was on a Twitter space earlier, Jiho made the analogy that Web3 games are kind of like Game of Thrones. You know, it's all these different chains and all these different houses, and some of them work together and some of them hate each other and some of them are at war. I just saw the Star Atlas guy taking shots at Kieran and them going back and forth again. So I actually do think that that's an apt analogy. And I think all things equal, it's a good time to just kind of get out there. You know, like I've got that little unicorn next to my name thanks to the Twitter Gold. And I always think about that anytime I'm on a Twitter space or I get to speak, or it's like all things equal, that unicorn is out there and they're like one click away from seeing what we're about or clicking on my profile and seeing like, oh, wow, from Axie to Unicorns, what do we got going on here? This could be pretty cool. So if you have a unicorn outwardly as well, it's a great time to just, you know, say congrats, peek around the corner, go see what the CyberKongs are up to, you know, go see what the cyber brokers are doing, go explore other projects. And I think in some ways, you know, rising tides rise all boats. I'm not saying leave unicorns and go play other things, but most people don't play one game. So if you do play other games, like it's just a great time to cross-pollinate and signal to other folks that we're alive and that our economy is still, you know, sticking around and has some merit to it. A lot of the gamers that I've talked to right now that are interested in Web3 games are like, I still believe in play to earn. It's just a lot of the play to earn games ended up sucking. If you're telling me you've got one that doesn't suck, then like that sounds pretty cool, man. I'm pretty interested. So don't get too discouraged. There are still people out there looking for the exact kind of thing that we have to offer right now. And we really are in a situation where it doesn't take that much growth. You know, 500 new players, for example, would be like holy shit, wow, these numbers are moving. So it's like an achievable number. I think that's something Mitch and I keep going back to. Like some of the immediate numbers that we want to hit definitely feel like, okay, this is a very tangible number of humans. We know there's way more than that in the ecosystem that are kind of turned on to these games. We have a partnership that we're going to announce in a couple of weeks that I think is going to be pretty cool and a nice, like, it's similar but different. a great example of where interoperability can be kind of cool, but also different game styles to each their own, that kind of deal. So I'm blathering now, but be social. I guess maybe that's the vibe I'm feeling today.
Yeah, and
That's a
one
good
thing
point.
to add to that, a good hook to get people into this game, because as we all know, with the current market conditions, we all know that earning in this space is certainly not as lucrative or profitable as what it was. But a good hook to encourage people to check out CU is, hey, we have this incredible product. Like, this is your best bet. When the market comes back, right, and all the money starts coming back in, the people who have created the accounts, who have built up their land, who have bred the unicorns, who have acquired shadowcorns, you're going to be in the best position when the market returns, right? And so it's just kind of understanding that that is a better value spin for me, because, as like I said, as we all know, the motivation for play to earn at the moment is certainly not as high as what it was. But we need to convince people that CU is your best bet when the gaming bull run happens. CU is the best bet to take you to the moon. And if we can enforce that narrative, this is what is going to draw people into CU. Once they actually see what we've got going, and they believe that them getting started today is going to put them in the best position in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years from now.
That's both of what you've said is exactly what I've heard from some of the folks that are in my community. The fact is they're starting to hear from other folks that are like saying, hey, it looks like you got something good going there, and it looks like you got something that I want to play, and my project kind of fell apart, and let me check it out. So as a group, we're starting to basically see that these residual projects, or these projects that were missed attempts, essentially are starting to fade off. And now it's like people are wanting to still do it. They're wanting to still play a game that looks good, and they're starting to basically get their toes in the water on that. And so I think everything that you're saying is just spot on. So thanks. I'm gonna step down and let somebody else talk, but hey, thanks for having me up.
Always great to hear from you, man. Really appreciate everything you bring to the community, and the feedback that you throw our way. I see somebody mentioning the name change. I can speak on that very, very briefly. I do think we're pretty committed to the current name. It has been talked about before. Even when I joined, I brought it up in one of my interviews of, there is undoubtedly a group of people within crypto that have a bias against anything that's crypto blank. Some people think it's too derivative of CryptoKitties. Some people just think it's on the nose, whatever. And in our case, it's a little bit of a double on the nose, which is intentional, right? Like, unicorns are these billion-dollar kind of breakout companies. In crypto, everyone's looking for unicorns, the crypto unicorns, but they are also literal unicorns. It is, it makes me chuckle a little bit when I say it out loud like that. But I don't think it translates on average when people just see the name, So listen, if I could go back in time, I'll be totally honest with you guys. All right. Aaron's going to slap me for saying this, but if I go back in time, I would probably vote no on Crypto Unicorns as the name and go for something a little more open-ended. However, somebody did mention to me, it's a really honest name, right? If you were to describe literally what are we doing here? We are making an ecosystem of unicorns that are made and secured by cryptography and cryptocurrency. So, love it or hate it, it is the most honest and straight up name of what we have. And there is also this conversation about, we have a lot of kind of sub brands, right? Unicorn Party, Rainbow Rumble, right? These are individual brands where you could have Unicorn Party in the App Store, and it wouldn't necessarily say Crypto Unicorns all over it. It could be branded as Unicorn Party, and then kind of take you into this pipeline, and you see, oh, okay, the parent thing is Crypto Unicorns. So I do think that we should definitely just embrace this world, though, where Crypto Unicorns is the name of the base layer, and it's very descriptive. In bullish times, it can be a good thing. In bearish times, it's like, oh gosh, why did you label yourself crypto? But that's as straightforward as I can be about it. So yeah, Mitch, if you have any thoughts about it, I don't know if we've ever talked about it, but that's the straight and dirty.
I think that vote that happened was because in that proposal it had a name suggestion, right? I think I'm all up for a name change, but to me this is a higher level discussion. Certainly a lot of creative names that we could we could throw at this. But yeah, I don't know. For me, this is something we would take our time with. Yes, certainly involve the community, but even in just somehow involving perhaps experts that we aren't in touch with, because yeah, for me, the name can have a big impact on marketing. As we know, crypto does make it hard to advertise on certain platforms. Like I believe our Twitter account is basically banned because we have crypto in our name. So yeah, it's just something I'm very interested in, and I would love to have a discussion around what a future name would look like. But yeah, like I guess for example with our Web2 apps, for example, like Unicorn Party and all that, that's not going to have crypto in their name. Like Crypto Unicorns, I guess, is the overarching name, but under that, you're going to have different products, such as Unicorn Party. But yeah, it's just going to take additional discussion.
Yeah, the great thing about the DAO is that nothing is impossible, but some things are maybe highly improbable. So, never say never. Just like the tweet when someone said, "Are you guys going to move to Ronin chain?" Like, well, we're certainly not planning on it, but never say never. Crazier things have happened. I think that's more likely than us moving to Solana, for example. So, yeah, sure. I'll entertain that thought experiment, which is awesome. That's one of the things that really attracted me about this ecosystem is that it's scary sometimes having that blank canvas in front of us, but we really do have a lot of options. Sometimes the hardest part is narrowing down our options and deciding what path we want to take.
By the way, sign me up for a pair of those boxes or those underwear. I'd totally rock that shit.
Yeah, me too.
Oh god.
Ready for the slime monster.
It actually does make me think that we could have merch that's totally like for each class, like a different, kind of like the Clone X style, where like every DNA has its own sort of style of clothing with the matching set. You could do that for the different classes of Shadowcorns and Unicorns. In like 5 years, when we have Unicorn Con, we can have all this like perfected merch. Damn. Now I'm dreaming.
It's just in, guys. Okay, don't leave the town hall yet, but maintenance
Goliath.
might be finished.
Your wish was granted. The team pulled through and it's early.
Wow.
Don't leave.
Like
Don't
a
leave.
prophet, more like. Okay, looks like your stage wants to go back for a round 2.
I do.
What's
'Cause
up,
actually,
Goliath?
yeah, no, I'm really excited. I was going to comment on the Crypto Unicorns thing because you guys are talking about that. I'm going to a game conference next week, which is actually a board game conference. I'm going to Gen Con in Indianapolis, and I'm actually wearing that Crypto Unicorns band shirt while I'm there. So my intention basically is try to talk about Crypto Unicorns while I'm sitting down with a bunch of board gamers and just seeing kind of what the reaction is, kind of get some feel, for things and that kind of thing. I think it'll be fun just from a social interaction thing. So I just wanted to comment on that. I look forward to that. And the fact that maintenance is up, that's awesome because I got a stream coming at 7. So I look forward to talking about the game now too. So cool. Okay, now I'm done. Thanks.
I wish I could give you some of those little QR code papers that we had at Conquest. I still have a bunch of them in my backpack. I wonder if we could send him that like file to get printed out or something. It's just handy. It's like the New Age business card. It just here, scan this, and you can go read our landing page or whatever. Something to think about. That's awesome though, man.
Yeah, I'll work on that. The flyer, like the flyer file. Right? Yeah, message me, Goliath.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out. Okay. Some questions here. And one more thing that I'd like to bring up about the maintenance period. We did mention potato mode. I want to double down that this is the first iteration of potato mode, so it's only going to get better from here. So we have 2.3 coming out maybe next week, 2 weeks from now, and we're going to add more optimizations into potato mode to make it even better. And to improve the performance of the game better for lower end PCs and other devices. All right, we have a question here from Vasper. Yes, when referral links? Would love to get some of those. So do we have like a definite date or maybe an estimate on when we're going to be starting referrals?
Yes, I'll answer that. So one of my major priorities is working on this referral program because for me, this is a huge marketing initiative. Now, Aaron mentioned in the last town hall that if we didn't get this live in about 2 months, we've failed. And so for me, that is the timeline I'm working with. I want to get this done before that timeline, because for me, I think, again, this is going to give us some much needed growth, and it's also going to reward the community members who are actively taking the time to promote the game, which I think is very fair. So yeah, I would say anywhere between 6 weeks to 8 weeks is my timeline. And the good thing is we got some details locked in today. Oh, sorry, just this week. So we're actually full steam ahead on that front. The building is happening. And what I'll do is I'll actually keep you guys updated with the parts I can update you about in the marketing chat as well. So be sure to check that out because there will be updates around that. So yeah, give it another 6 to 8 weeks, and we are aiming to have that referral program live.
I also just quickly add, I'm really stoked about the structure of the referral program. I think it's hopefully going to be perceived as pretty generous, and I think it makes a lot of sense where we've really thought about what are the key metrics we need for people to unlock, and what are the numbers around that makes sense, and also trying to make that as juicy of a reward as possible for referrals that end up becoming long-term players. So also an exciting time with this clan leaderboard coming out. Season 1 will be a little bit of an experiment, but hopefully season 2, season 3 will be even more exciting. And we have some, we can go to all the clans that missed out on season 1 or didn't push or got eliminated or whatever, and instill that sense of FOMO. Like, see, should have taken it more seriously. Should have activated those scholars. Look at all these awesome rewards you missed out on. Could have had that shadow corn, and now the floor is doubled. That kind of vibe. So having a referral program on top of that might be the extra sweetener, a little extra petrol on top. I got psyched up in my own tweet earlier. I responded to somebody. I was like, yeah, dude, we got Minion Forge right around the corner. We got this clan leaderboard thing right around the corner, which is one of the first social initiatives of people being able to work together, and kind of a good starter before tribes, I guess you could say. We've got delegation going now. It feels pretty good. And you throw a referral program on top of that, it's like, I'm seeing some buy-ops out there. If you know what I'm saying. It's pretty cool. Sorry, I'm feeling very optimistic. Maybe I'm just on the high of buying a couple unicorns before the town hall started. Very excited to dive into this breeding session. But no, I feel like we have a lot of positive vectors right now, and a lot of things going in our favor that I think Mitch and I can start sewing together for some compounding results, let's say.
100%. Oh, it just mentioned that actually a member of our community, Daffy, is really curious about the whole breeding process, and I'm sure a lot of people are too. So this is going to be exciting news for you, Daffy. Ziori is working on breeding right now. So we already have a breeding document from our head designer, Jeff, but it's kind of it's a lot. So he's working on making it digestible for everybody in the community. Look out for it. Let's have another question from Wasper. Is it possible to get some sort of copy-paste CU banners to put on my website so I don't have to make those from scratch? I guess we can extend this question to, do we have any plans of providing, let's say, graphic assets to content creators to maybe help them create UGC of Crypto Unicorns better?
Yeah, definitely. That was actually one of the initiatives that we had in the past, of like giving out a media kit to help people create their own user-generated content, because that's free content. And now that I have stolen Spicy, who was also a former CM, who is now fully on content creation, we could definitely provide banners, icons, or even like frames for Twitch if you want to do streaming. Lots of exciting stuff there. Yeah.
Definitely something that a lot of the community is looking forward to. Let's see. Yeah, it was Daffy who asked if Mitch V can do a video on how breeding works in expert mode. How do you feel about that, Mitch?
So to be transparent, I haven't fully cracked the whole breeding game to the level I have wanted. Certainly, I've bred some great corns, but there's some people that are absolute degens when it comes to understanding how the genes work. So yeah, look, to be honest, I probably wouldn't be the best person to explain that, but I'm going to be learning it myself because obviously I need to learn it, and apart from just wanting to communicate it better, I also need to, um, I also want to make sure that my breeding game is improved. So I'm happy to do a video around that in the future, but I have to be transparent in saying I don't have the level of knowledge around it that I'd like to be able to communicate it to someone coming on board. So that's
It's not on you, honestly. I'm hearing all this and I'm sitting here in my chair, kind of rolling my eyes like, fuck, man, this is on me. I've been kicking the can down the road on this for so long. I tried to pawn it off on Jeff and his was so advanced. I was like, I'm reading a textbook here. I don't know if this is what the people want. I tried to distill it. It didn't work. I kind of tried to pawn it off on Mitch and that didn't work either. Now I've had a couple community members help me with it and they're answering all my dumb questions, but I really just need to buckle down and take a day and do some deep work and really study. I'm doing some breeds right now. I've done some before, but this is my first time really trying to push it with, like, you know, chasing mythic parts and that kind of stuff. So we'll get kind of a basic version of the guide going and then work on expanding that. And I think I'm just going to dive in and do the research, and that's what's necessary to get it over the finish line. So apologies, but also, you know, it's cool. It is pretty complex, and trying to summarize it into, you know, plain English it's a serious task.
Definitely, I don't know. You can't say it's not rocket science because it's kind of, I don't know, man. It feels pretty close.
And Neviolo is one of the small group that I've been chatting with, trying to get notes and ask questions. So I think I've got ideas from the right people. It's just compiling it in a way that's easy to follow. So stay tuned. I'll put that on my to-do list for tomorrow and early next week, and we'll get it taken care of.
I think
Shout
it's
out to
very
Nebbiolo.
exciting to have a feature that is that advanced, though, because it just offers a lot of progression opportunity and a lot of time to try and understand it. Because if everything was easy, people would figure it out straight away and it wouldn't be a challenge. But because it is a challenge, only a certain amount of people who are putting their time in to understand how it works are truly going to understand that, and they're the ones that are going to reap the incentive, which is exactly what's happened. Like Novelio, who's put that time in, figured it out, and as a result has bred some of the rarest corns that we have in crypto unicorns at the moment. So, you know, that it's also part of a challenge for you guys to say, hey, you know what, we have this feature, it is quite complex, you need to put the time in to try and figure it out. And if you do, that puts you in the top 1% of breeders. So, you know, it's almost like an aspirational challenge for you all.
100%. It was really a challenge laid out by Jeff, and several members of our community definitely stood up to the challenge and conquered it. For real. Shout out to Neviolo. Amazing. Oh, and we have Intersec right now on the stage. Hey.
Hey everyone, how are you doing?
Doing great.
Yeah, I just want to jump on. Firstly, just congratulate Mitch on the new role. You know, I've known Mitch for a few years, and can definitely say he's the right person for the job. You know, from day one since the game's come out, he'll call me and talk about different strategies, and on the game, he's definitely obsessed with the game. So I just want some bullishness. You know, I've read some things in the serious chat. You know, I know a lot of people are a bit critical about how things have been done, but just from my point of view, you know, I've been running a guild in the space for maybe almost 2 years. Been investing in the space as well before that too, and just from out of all the games we've seen, I can definitely say like CU is right up there with the most potential. Like there aren't many games that they put their hand up and go, you know, they've got an in-depth economy that's been running for over a year and hasn't collapsed. The brand IP is incredible, to be honest. You know, I've got a 4-year-old daughter. She'll collect the rainbow poof for me daily as well, and she loves it because she loves rainbows and unicorns. So, you know, even my wife, she plays Candy Crush at night. So, you know, I just want to give her Corn Crush in her hand, or Match 3, whatever we're going to call it, and play that instead at night before she goes to bed. I just think the potential is really up there. So, yeah, I just want to share some bullishness on my part. But I do have a question. So, you know, there's been talk about, hey, let's put all the mini games we've got in an app. more for the Web 2 audience. They can play it, have an email login, not worry much about the crypto side of it. At the same time, those people who want to go deeper into the Web 3 space can go into the farming sim, and that's always going to be there as a different component as well. I'm just wondering if the teams has a similar kind of idea about that in the long term, or any plans towards that at all?
So I'm happy to answer that. And yeah, first of all, great to have Nish up here. Nish is actually one of my best friends. I've known him, in real life, best friends, I should say as well. I've known him for about 6 or 7 years. We met at a networking event a while back, and he actually brought me into the space a few years ago. So I definitely wouldn't be here without him. And also Nish is super humble. Like he's very deeply exposed in this space, man. He's the degen of degens. Definitely check out his Twitter when you can, and you'll see what I mean. We honestly speak almost every day to talk about strategies and what's happening in the space. And this is what I meant when I said in the growth plan, guys, that I want to make sure I have the right people around me to support me, right? Because this is a complex problem, and one person solving a problem isn't going to be the most efficient way to do that. But when you have the team of the right people around you who have different strengths, different weaknesses, and they can cover each other, this is what provides the greatest results. So yeah, great to have you up here, Nish, and thank you for the question. So to answer that question, yes, I've made it very clear to the team that we need to have this experience and all the Crypto Unicorn minigame experiences, whatever they're called, on a single app. Because being on a single app, one, makes it easy to market. Imagine having a different app for everything and you're constantly trying to market all these different apps. We have a single app, and this one app, similar to, let's say you played Mario Party back in the day, you had all these mini game opportunities. And all these mini games might not appeal to everyone, but some of them might. And so the idea is you can come to this app and you can use your NFT for all these games. Or you can, let's just say, start playing free to play and get acquainted with the game and just enjoy that competition. But for me, that is the Web 2 scalability part. Our product at the moment is not Web 2 friendly. And so it's going to be very hard to onboard people from Web 2 into Web 3. There's going to be some time before our product becomes Web 2 friendly. When I say product, I'm referring to the farm sim, of course. So yeah, the app for me is the easiest part to get high growth numbers. And so, yeah, even with all the data that we're testing at the moment with Unicorn Party, I'm driving a fair amount of traffic from Facebook, for example, and we're kind of testing where different drop-off rates are happening in the funnel. And there is a lot of drop-off, right? So for me, this is kind of to be expected when you have a mobile app that you have to download from a website. It's just not a natural experience. And so we're going through all the data at the moment where I'm jumping on a call with the development team every week to figure this sort of stuff out. Because for me, the future is having a Crypto Unicorns experience on a mobile app that consists of a multitude of different game modes. For me, that is the way. That is the future, and I'm very determined to enforce that in a way that is successful for our IP.
Yeah, cool. That makes sense. Thanks for that. And yeah, just for the record, Ziori, yeah, I'm torn with the name as well. Like, yeah, I'm cool with Crypto Unicorns, but my daughter the other day just said she referred to it as Rainbow Unicorns, and I was like, oh, that would have been a great name if we didn't name a class Rainbow already. But yeah, nah, either way. Yeah, that's it, man. Yeah, keep up the good work, guys. You guys are killing it. Yeah, can't wait to see what you guys deliver.
Appreciate it, man. I like where your daughter's head is at. Yeah, we'll see what happens there, but no, it's coming together. There's a lot of different pieces, and there's trade-offs in all things in life. But with Unicorns, we have a lot of different parts, and I love that aspect of it. We have a DAO, we have this Shadowcorn Web3 first style game, we have this more graphical 3D game, we have the jousting sort of, whatever you want to call it, racing kind of equivalent that was really popular in the last play to earn run. It's awesome that we have this different suite of products. You put Unicorn Party in there as well. We're tackling a lot of things, and sometimes that's a little chaotic and we have a lot going on. Certainly some opportunities to tie the ecosystem together, but we've got a lot of stuff in our arsenal, and that's really powerful. And I think if this really is kind of the trough of this bearish swing, which I maybe too early to call, but we'll see. I think we've just got some great ammunition if things start to level out / start to move up a little bit on like a macro / crypto macro scale. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm feeling very optimistic today. So hopefully I'm not coming off as delusional, but I think as far as crypto goes, a lot of the scariest stuff has already happened. American regulation, unfortunately, does drive a big chunk of the narrative, and it seems like a lot of the worst has already happened there.
Totally agree there. We have another question from Ami27. I was wondering if the in-game tutorial was a point of focus. I often feel like it should be used to introduce the mascots of our IP lore, and it would be great if the tutorial was more narrated by a unicorn than a straight slide with graphics and arrows. Is this something that we're focusing on from a marketing standpoint, or not really?
So I'm trying to work with the team to really simplify the onboarding process, and that includes the tutorials. Because at the moment, it's just it doesn't work as seamlessly as I'd like, and this is part of the reason why I've been creating all these videos and have a whole list of all these different video topics that I want to create and put that content out there. Because if you come into this for the first time, it's a little bit overwhelming, but I'm always open to suggestions around how we could how we could implement certain features that do make it easier. I get the whole lovable IP thing showing up on your screen. It's just like, hey, plant a farm. Congratulations, you've collected the berry. Now you can go to the gathering cart. Something like that. In fact, I think we'd have to get Sparkly to do that. I think she'd be a great narrator for the unicorn. Down for that. It's something that's definitely an interesting idea, and I meet with the development team weekly just to figure this sort of stuff out, because it's easy to throw all these ideas around, but now when it comes to obviously actual implementation, you've got to work with certain limitations and certain timeframes. So it's certainly an interesting idea, and what I'll do is I'll throw it down on my list that I write every week, to a list of agendas to bring up with the development team and pitch it to them and see what they say.
Super excited for that, and if ever you do need that voiceover, I'm just here. Okay, it's actually the end of the hour. Let's get one last question in, and then we can end this town hall. So part of marketing and growth is getting user feedback. Top of mind, what do you want to know about the community the most, and how will this help you in your plans?
I'm sure Mitch has an answer to this, but I can preface real quick by just saying that survey that went out, the 1 year, has already been illuminating in various ways. It's still open for, I think, another week or so. If you haven't filled it out yet, please do. That data in aggregate is really, really helpful. We do read Discord. We do our best to widen that funnel and get it all on the drawing board and get it in front of the product team as best we can. But when we have this kind of wide net, everybody is normalized into one person on the survey. It's just really helpful. We've gotten a great response so far. We've already hit our threshold of the number that we wanted to try to have a relevant data set. So appreciate everyone that has filled it out. It's been really helpful. But if you haven't, please do. So that has a lot of different questions in it, but there are a lot of portions in there that are just very revealing and helpful to the product team as they make decisions to understand the community's priorities, kind of the pulse check of how you feel about a lot of core things. So very much appreciate that. Don't want to burn you out with surveys, but I think we'll do one of those, once a year at the very least, maybe a little bit more frequently. We'll see how it goes. But we'll put some results together there and certainly present internally and see if there's anything we want to share externally as well.
Yeah, and I noticed for social media on my end, a lot more has been very collaborative. For example, one of the things that Aaron pinged me with was the Bruce Buffer cameo for a jousting video, and I was like, okay, you know what? I know that there are a lot more in the community that know more about this than me. So shout out to EL for helping me draft the cameo script for that. And I'll be doing that a lot more often. I'll be just like bouncing off ideas with you guys in general, in serious, to see if do you think this one will fly? What do you think we should add to this and that, so that we could involve the community in our social media process. And I know that you guys have a lot of bright ideas, and you guys are like a prime resource for me to come up for memes, for trends that you want to hop into that we think would be right on brand for crypto unicorns. So yeah, looking forward to collaborating a lot more.
And speaking of social media, I'm just going to put it out there. We're going to have a tweet going live later where we're giving away double mythic unicorn. I want you guys to retweet and shill the shit out of that, because that's one thing I want to make sure we're doing. We're doing more activity on Twitter. And I'm not talking about engagement farming activity, but I want to use value to obviously incentivize us, the community, to get behind these certain tweets, get aligned, and all do some sort of action to amplify its reach. Because yeah, like this is obviously how algorithms work, right? The probability of it being shown to someone else is largely dependent on the engagement activity happening on that particular post. So that's going live later in the day. I'd really appreciate it if you guys, obviously, like we'll put it in the raid channel as well, but everyone get behind it, show this sort of stuff, because we're going to be doing stuff like this more often where we're giving away rare assets just by our community retweeting stuff. So yeah, you've got to be in it to win it, and we'll love to. And on top of that, you guys are already in this community, so you win either way. So yeah, be sure to jump on top of that when it goes live.
All right, love it. Free alpha right there. Okay, so that's our last question. If you all want to ask further questions, feel free to leave them in the Town Hall number 42 thread. We will answer them later on. And
Wait, I have one more question. Why did I level up my nursery to level 4? I have not received any benefit from this, and I'm very disappointed. Mitch, I think I made a mistake.
Why did you do this, Chief? I mean, you save on berries, I guess.
Myself.
Wait, you're breeding clouds. You don't save on berry. Yeah.
So just to point something out that I actually, when I sat down with the dev team yesterday, I was like, guys, like 11, you want me to level up my buildings to level 10? Most of them don't have an incentive for me to get to level 10. Why should I do it? And yeah, I feel like it was a great question, because we all should have an incentive to get our buildings to level 10, right? Just like the gathering cart had a clear incentive when you got to level 10, you unlocked a third slot. Right, so what should be the level 10 incentive for every other building? I think we need that in, because it just adds a huge amount of resource burn. And we all know, for everyone that started off early in this game, how long it took to get those first level 10 carts going up. It took months, right? It's easier now if you have all the coins and you have all the land in the production to facilitate the build up of those in-game materials to let's say upgrade. But getting started, it's a lot. And so I certainly think we need more things added to the hat tree for higher levels. But at the moment, your only benefit is less berries for influencing class probability.
Okay, got it. So if you're breeding 2 of the same class, as Sparkly said, not getting much benefit. Okay, noted. Well, donation of some resources to the burning gods. All good. All right, sorry, you can close the show now, Sparkly. Just needed some closure on that.
It's a sacrifice. Yeah, it's a ritual. That was a big brain play.
It's for luck. Yeah, it's like instead of throwing pennies in a well, I'm throwing like $50. I'm throwing rare coins in there. Really trying to double down.
But yes, one day we will have something better for the nursery. We will. Send it. That concludes our bi-weekly Town Hall number 42. We will see you next week for bi-weekly Town Hall number 43 with CEO and co-founder Eric Schmidt. We'll post a recording of this Town Hall on our socials if you would like to give it a real listen, and don't forget to share this with your friends and fellow Unicorn fam who couldn't make it. If you have more burning questions, feel free to reach out on our support channels, the Mod Support channel and the Ask the Duds channel. This has been the LG Internal Teams Town Hall, hosted by Sparkly Unicorn with Stealthy Unicorn on tech. Good morning. Good night, Unicorn fam. You guys want to say bye?
See ya.
Ooh-woo.
Ooh.